And then on my side, we have Mr. Justin Shongo, who, for the purpose of this briefing, acting DG for financial governance. MEC, we are ready when you are ready.
I am ready. Morning to everyone and welcome, and thanks for coming. I will read the statement. I'm not sure if you have circulated it already.
Yes, we are circulating.
Oh, okay, it's fine. But I'll go through the statement and maybe you should circulate because there's numbers and all that. I'm not sure if you do in journalism, if there's accounting and maths. So you might need enough time to. I know in law there isn't, so I'm not sure about it. Let me start by reading the statement. On Tuesday, the 2nd September 2025, all departments and entities in the Gauteng provincial government tabled their 2024-2025 annual reports at the Gauteng provincial legislature. This was done in compliance with Section 40 of the Public Finance Management Act, Act 1 of 1999. These annual reports provided a consolidated view of the financial position, financial performance, and the cash flow of each department in the Gauteng provincial government for the year 2024-2025. This information is important as it demonstrates government's commitment to transparency and accountability to citizens. Included in each of the annual reports that were tabled at the Gauteng provincial legislature is the report of the Auditor General, the Supreme Audit Institution of South Africa, which assessed how each department spent public funds in the 2024-2025 Supreme Audit Institution of South Africa, which assessed how each department spent public 2024-2025 financial year. Commitment to improve the management of finances and promote transparency and accountability in the public sector. Overall, in the 2024-2025 financial year, most of our departments and entities achieved clean audit opinions, a clear indication that significant progress has been made to improve financial management and ensure that public funds are utilized for what they are meant for, to deliver services to the citizens of Gauteng. However, we remain concerned about the continuous rise in irregular expenditure, which occurs when departments do not adhere to supply chain management rules and regulations when procuring goods and services. Provincial Treasury continues to work closely with departments to curb irregular expenditure by strengthening supply chain management capacity. Before we get into the analysis of audit outcomes for the 2024-2025 financial year, let me briefly explain the categories of audit opinions that we are discussing in this media statement and what each of these mean. A clean audit means the annual financial statement of the auditee are free of material misstatements and there are no material findings on the report on performance against predetermined objectives or compliance with key laws and regulations. Unqualified audit means the annual financial statements contain no material misstatements with findings raised on either reporting on predetermined objectives or non-compliance with legislation or both these aspects. Qualified audit means the annual financial statements contain material misstatements in specific amounts or there is insufficient evidence for the auditor to conclude that specific amounts disclosed in the financial statements are not materially misstated. Adverse opinion means the annual financial statements contain misstatements that are not confined to specific amounts, or the misstatements represent a substantial portion of the financial statements, and the disclaimer opinion means there was insufficient appropriate portfolio of evidence on which the auditor could base an opinion concerning the items reported in the annual statements. The lack of evidence is not confined to specific amounts or represents a substantial portion of the information contained in the financial statements. A total of 8 departments achieved clean audit outcomes in the 2024-2025 financial year, and those are Office of the Premier, Provincial Legislature, Provincial Treasury, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, E-Government, Economic Development, Community Safety, and Roads and Transport. It is important to note that 4 of the 8 above-mentioned departments, namely Office of the Premier, Gauteng Provincial Treasury, Gauteng Provincial Legislature, and COGTA, have sustained these clean audits for at least 5 consecutive years. This is an indication of stable and effective leadership that is focused on upholding clean governance. In the 2024-2025 financial year, the following departments: infrastructure development, agriculture and rural development, social development, health and human settlements, remain stagnant on unqualified audit opinion, with findings mainly due to issues of non-compliance with laws and regulations. In the same period, 2 departments have regressed, with education losing its clean audit and receiving an unqualified audit opinion, while sports, arts, culture and recreation moved from an unqualified to a qualified audit opinion. Overall, the analysis of the audit outcomes of 2024-2025 financial year showed that the Department of Health was the only department with non-compliance across all areas due to lack of effective internal control environment. Across the departments that received unqualified audits: health, human settlement, infrastructure development, agriculture and rural development, and social development, non-compliance with expenditure management and supply chain management laws and regulations was common, which led to increased instances of irregular expenditure. Consequence management remains an issue for 50% of these departments, meaning that accounting officers did not implement recommendations from completed investigations. Material misstatements in the annual financial statements was an issue for 50% of these departments, which indicates weak internal controls and lack of adequate management reviews in the financial reporting processes. Turning to public entities, we are pleased to announce that 14 of 19 entities achieved clean audit outcomes. These are Gauteng Infrastructure Financing Agency, Gauteng Film Commission, Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, Supplier Park Development, Constitution Hill Precinct, IDZ Development Company, Gautrain, Gauteng Liquor Board, Cradle of Humankind, Dinokeng, Gauteng Gaming Board, Transport Authority of Gauteng, Gauteng Partnership Fund, and Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. The Medical Supply Depot sustained an unqualified audit opinion during this period. However, G-Fleet Management, Innovation Hub, and Gauteng Tourism Authority regressed to unqualified audit opinions during this period. We are very concerned that the situation deteriorated further at the Housing Fund, which regressed from an adverse to a disclaimer in the 2024-2025 financial year. The key issues raised by the Auditor General on the 5 entities were non-compliance on annual financial statements because of weak internal controls and lack of adequate management reviews in the financial reporting processes. 3 entities were non-compliant with expenditure management and supply chain management prescripts, which led to increased instances of irregular expenditure. Consequence management remained an issue for medical supplies depot due to lack of implementation of recommendations from the completed investigations from the Department of Health. Non-implementation of consequence management also led to irregular expenditure that could not be condoned during this period. The Provincial Treasury is fully committed to working closely with departments and entities to ensure transparency and public accountability in the province by implementing credible financial controls with the goal of realizing 100% clean governance. To address the challenges related to material misstatements in the annual financial statements, we will, amongst other things, review audit action plans to ascertain that these are aligned to the findings and conduct monthly review of Public Finance Management Act Section 40 disclosures notes. Furthermore, we will review annual financial statements prior to submission to audit committees and the Auditor General for audit, provide training in identified areas of weaknesses during the monthly and interim reviews, and to facilitate full utilization of SAP procure-to-pay and asset management systems to ensure complete and credible financial information. The Gauteng Provincial Government is committed to paying suppliers invoices within 30 days as prescribed in Section 38, Subsection 1, Subsection F of the Public Finance Management Act, read with Treasury Regulations 8.2.3. In the 2024-2025 financial year, the provincial government successfully paid 192,718 invoices amounting to 48.9 billion. This resulted in 97% of suppliers being paid within 30-day time frame. Office of the Premier, Roads and Transport, Community Safety, Economic Development, eGov and COGTA paid 100% of all invoices within 30 days. The Provincial Treasury achieved 99.75%, Sports 99.5%, Human Settlement 99.5%, Social Development 99%, Infrastructure 94.25%, Education 93.5%, and Agriculture was at 71.95%. The Department of Health on average paid 37% of invoices within 30 days in the year under review due to historical accruals. In the 2024-2025 financial year, Gauteng Provincial Government departments incurred 4.2 billion in new irregular expenditure. The province is dedicated to enhancing compliance with supply chain management regulations by automating supply chain management processes related to tenders and requests for quotations. We want transparency and accountability regarding procurement and contract management in the province to enhance compliance, fight against fraud and corruption, and to protect the public purse. Improvement in financial management in the public sector leads to better service delivery because funds are used for what they are intended for. Our people expect us to build an accountable and clean government that can serve them better. This is what we are focused on doing. We are a responsive, people-centered government that is transparent and on the ground to improve services to the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC, for that comprehensive overview of the audit. Colleagues, we are now going to open for question and answers so that if there are any areas that you want clarification from, we can be able to then get the responses. I'm going to check this side, whether there are any hands. Are there any hands on the other side? We'll take these two. Yeah, we can start there. We can start on your side.
Name.
Just say your name,
Yeah.
surname, and media house that you represent, and then we can ask the question.
MEC, in terms of intervention based on the audit outcome, you just mentioned the review of certain audit action plans. However, there were government officials who really didn't, comply in terms of submission of financial statements. Isn't there any kind of action, can they be charged in terms of consequence management? Thank you.
Thank you.
Gauteng Audit from Newsroom Africa. MEC, just on the departments which have regressed, education and I see sports, arts and culture, do you have, are there specific reasons that perhaps you could outline in terms of this regression? And then, MEC, when it comes to the Gauteng Gambling Board, we've been informed that there's been serious allegations of misconduct and corruption. We have been informed that there was an appointment of a legal expert, Advocate Mokare, in June to conduct these investigations. There was a commitment, we understand, to have an interim report in the first month, but it's been almost 3 months. No action seems to have been taken. We were also informed that 2 weeks ago, the Hawks came to the offices and informed various implicated managers about this case. If the MEC is serious about combating corruption, why has there been no action taken so far? And how far does investigation into the allegations of corruption? And can you perhaps clarify, MEC, why and what are the Hawks investigating at the Gauteng Gambling Board? Thank you.
Okay, MEC, we can take this first two.
Let me start with Refilio's question. Yeah, I think when you read the statement, you'll see is where we are saying we are referring to consequence management, one, but two, is where we are saying that there's been investigations, and I think about 50% of those matters were trailing behind, meaning there's 50% where there's been conclusion, and therefore there's been an investigation and disciplinary action depending on the severity of the issue. Sometimes it can be a written warning, it can be a suspension, it can be expulsion, it can vary from depending on the severity of the consequence. So there are actions that have been taken in the various departments. Katlego, the reasons, HOD, on the regression of the departments, I think they vary from department to department. Which one is that?
Education.
Oh yeah, on education, there's been the issue of what? Revenue.
Expenditure management.
You want to speak to it? Just speak to it.
Right.
On the reasons, yeah, I'll just speak, I think.
All right. Thank you very much, MEC, and good morning, everyone. So for the Department of Education, the issues that affected or brought about the regression, one of them related to issues around expenditure management and also issues of procurement and contract management, and some element of the predetermined objectives. So that would have been the issues on that side. And then on the part of the entities, we saw entities like your Gauteng Tourism Authority, your GFleet, your innovation hub. It was issues related to the financial statements, so some elements of the reporting in there. And on the part of the Gauteng Housing Fund, it was the issues of the financial statements, issues related to asset management and also expenditure management in that regard. And I think on the part of GFleet, there were also elements of the predetermined objectives, the reporting in line with that.
Yeah, and I think if you need that information, we'll gladly give it to you so that you don't have problems, because it's not a secret. And that's why we have a press conference, so that we inform you. Getting to your next question, Skatlego. So you're saying you were informed that there's corruption. You're not informed by anyone, you're informed by me. I called you to a press conference. So you put it as if, you have some sources. Media like sources. There was no source this time. I called a press conference here, and I announced that we are doing some. No, it was not here. In Santi, yes. So announced two things. We announced the establishment of an inquiry to look at liquor matters in the province. We also announced that we are appointing Senior Counsel Mokari to look at allegations of corruption here in the Gambling Board and in the Growth and Development Agency. So the Senior Counsel is busy with the investigation. They have not given me any indication of when, but we will make a follow-up. And once the Senior Counsel is done with the investigation, he will also make recommendations. And what we are going to do, we are going to convene you again and give you the information that now we have investigated, and we are now we have received the report, and this is what they found, and this is the action they are recommending, and we are going to do that. So we are very transparent about these matters. That's why even the audit issues, we are transparent about them. So we're not hiding anything. We'll definitely do that. Well, I'm told as well, I heard the rumor, that one it's a rumor that the Hawks were here, and I wouldn't know what they're investigating, because they've never spoken to me, they've never given me any report, and I'm sure if they think it's necessary to inform me, they will, but they are doing their work, and I think it will be prudent to contact them and check. But from where we are sitting, if there are any issues that requires our action, we will definitely act. And we also would definitely, I hope by end of September, because we want to release these reports simultaneously, that liquor inquiries and the one from the senior counsel. The delays of the senior counsel might have been as a result of additional brief that he was giving, because there were other things that came up. Once we announced that there's going to be investigation, there are people who came and said we also have information. So we can't say no, it was not part of the brief, we said we must finish it in 1 month. So we want to make sure that by the time the senior counsel's report is done, we have covered as much ground as possible, and we have dealt with all the issues, because we don't want any of our public entities to be in the public for wrong reasons, and we don't want corruption. That's why we are not hiding anything, and we're talking about all the challenges in public. We will also talk about how we resolve them in public, what actions are we following, are we taking, and if the media or any member of the public wants regular update, would lately provide those in terms of how we move. You will remember that at the Premier also released a report of several investigations that were done previous years, and not much was done in implementing them, to demonstrate our firm commitment to fighting corruption and resolving these issues. But if you check as well, because you are asking if I'm what are you saying, if I'm committed,
Serious about
if I'm serious. We're more than serious. And that's why when you read this statement, one of the things which I always raise and I want to emphasize, because it's a very important aspect which you must champion as media. You must champion because there's the first thing we've started doing in fighting corruption, and this is, we're not talking about responding to events. We're talking about being preventative and preempting and trying to put systems in place. The first thing we did was to introduce what we call an open tender system in Gauteng. There's no, you must ask a Premier or MECs of finance in other provinces if they've got what is called, and why they don't have it. Because I think everyone must have it. Where before you advertise a tender, we appoint external auditors. These are people who are not working for government. These are accountants who check our processes, and then before awarding, when we adjudicate, we call members of the public to observe. It's a very important, if we're talking about fighting corruption, we can't just talk about fighting corruption every time, and it's a buzzword. Everyone who wants to be relevant, they talk about we must take action in eliminating corruption. So that's the first thing we've done. The second thing that we are doing now, we said, when you look at the budget speech that I gave, the second version, well, unlike national, we had two. They had three. Yeah, we had two. The second one, I spoke about introducing a digitized procurement. So what we want to do is to eliminate human interference in the tendering system. So when you apply for a tender, it's going to be digital. The evaluations will be done digital. You will be able to monitor it digitally and all that. And the third thing that we are doing is so there is no one who can interfere with your documents and lie, because that's where corruption gets out of hand, when individuals are involved in the process. The third one is, you will know there are people who struggle to get their payments because there's people who want bribes from government and all that. We have introduced an invoicing system where ultimately everybody who submit their invoices in government, you don't even have to see anyone. You don't have to know anyone. You just upload your invoice and you should be able to see the progress. If Lebogang has not signed or authorized, you must be able to see that, so that you don't have a situation where you must bring your invoice to Lebogang and Lebogang starts saying, no, let's talk and all that. No, we don't want that. So we are not just serious. We are committed to this battle against corruption. And that's why we're making these pronouncements public, so that you judge us. In the budget speech, we said we are going to start with 5 departments, starting deliberately with the Office of the Premier, the Department of Treasury, amongst the 5, just to show the seriousness with which we take this, so that in the next financial year, hopefully, we will be able to roll out to all government departments. You must go to the Western Cape and ask Premier Winde, why is there no, if you must ask him if he's serious about fighting corruption. So we are not just talking about it, we are doing something about it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, MEC. There's an online question, MEC, that we've received from Bongile Makupe from News 24. The question is, the Department of Health has consistently been in the raid, and several administrations have promised to clean up the Department of Health, but it continues to have serious challenges. What interventions is this administration or is MEC Maile doing to help with this department? And what discussions, if any, has he had with his counterpart, MEC Namantu Komrale-Huku, on addressing the serious challenges that are critical in the department? That's the question, MEC, from News 24. And then we'll take, just say your name and surname in the media.
My name is Ofensa Stimo from SABC News. MEC, I'd like to find out what the Treasury will do, especially after there was about 1.8 billion that was underspent in the budget. Hence, Banyaza took action against the different head of department, and there was also missed service delivery targets. So is there any form of a different way of looking at the oversight and ensuring that such monies that are allocated for service delivery can be spent for it? Thanks.
Okay, there's a follow-up here.
If you don't by servicing this as well. Just an overall perception, MEC, under your administration, do you think we'll ever see or witness all these departments achieving clean audits? I mean, now N entities, we only have 22 N2 entities. Thank you.
Yeah, Katlego.
Just a follow-up, MEC, the digitization plan, where have the challenges been there in terms of rolling it out, and are there some delays, or are you on track in terms of that digitizing, especially the tender system?
Okay, MEC.
You see now, Katlego, you make us to account. That's what government must do. When we say we do something, you must ask us. All of you, Offense and Refil, I like that the journalists want us to report on the work that government must do. So let me start maybe with Bongegile. I think Bongegile is correct. There are a lot of challenges in the Department of Health, and we have on several occasions been the first to admit, the Premier, the MEC of Health, myself, and we have even indicated that there's a lot of work that is being happening in the department, and the reason why we are updating you it's so that you are able to monitor, because if you were to look into the details, for instance, if you look at their audit outcome, there's not regressed, but there are issues, and there are issues that they've been solving. So it's not like nothing is happening. Something is happening, and maybe not as fast as we could, but the problems or the challenges are huge, because the health system is huge. In Gauteng, we have what we call 4 tertiary institutions in health. Our health budget is 60 billion. We service, I'm sure, more than 1.2 million or so people every month. It's not a small matter. So what we're doing, we have started engaging even with the private sector now in the health to look at the good things that we can learn from them as part of solving those issues in health. And also, we are working very well with the MEC for health, and we've had a meeting, I think twice, if I'm not mistaken, and we have even agreed that we're going to have just a workshop between ourselves, the Treasury and the Department of Health, to see how we help each other. But we are confident that in the next audit process, health will improve. And then, offense, we dealt with the issue of the underspending from the finance point of view. Remember, we had a press conference where we announced the 1.8 billion, and we said in that 1.8 billion, and now we can say with certainty and with authority that the only money that the province has lost there was how much? Just below 100 million. Yeah, just below 100 million, about 80 million. So that's the money which is conditional grants that goes to national. But we're not saying it's fine. No, it's not, because every cent counts. Every cent is important. Every cent must be used to better the lives of the people. But I'm just saying now, it's not 1.8 billion. That money is in the province, meaning we're able to use it. That's why in the last budget, if you remember, we also reallocated it. Some of it, as you remember, we said we gave it to Department of Roads and Transport. We're going to fix the potholes. We're going to fix traffic lights, amongst others. Who else did we give money? Or we gave to Department of Human Settlement. We gave the money to deal with temporary sanitation in informal settlements. We gave them 300 million.
And also the security.
And to also deal with security. You heard the Premier was talking about land invasion. We want to act. We have allocated money for that. So whatever he was saying, there's money, resources allocated for it. And those informal settlements that are there, and as you know, there's people who must get services, there is money allocated for it. The Department of Infrastructure Development, we gave them money because there's service providers who have not been paid because of a number of challenges. So we gave them money to be able to deal with that. But we are not dismissing your concern. You are correct. We shouldn't have even had to underspend the 1.8 billion, and that's why we are putting systems in place. But what we can assure the public is that no money has been misused. We are actually putting it in the services that matters the most. Refilwe, that's our aim. As you can see, out of 19 entities, it's only 5 that don't have the clean audits. And out of those 5, I think 3 of them previously have had clean audits. And that is Innovation Hub, Tourism, and G-Fleet. They've had them. So maybe these other 2, if we get them, if I was to answer your question in simple terms, I would say if the 2 gets the clean audit, it means in my tenure I would have achieved it. But that's that's not the point. What we want is we are not here to put personal records, place personal records. We are here to ensure that we put a system that's going to work, and that can outlive all of us. And that, of course, we want to get clean audits. And in this term, we are confident that everyone will get them. The only entity, which is the housing fund, it's supposed to be winded up because there is no longer use for them. So there's that process, which I think the department, probably in the next financial year, we won't be reporting about it. Out of 19, we'll probably have about 18 entities. And then with the departments, if you can see, which is very important, I think all of them that have gotten unqualified audit, for the last 2-3 years, they've been consistent. So that is important. They've been consistent. So for me, if they can continue and then reduce the matters that are findings from the AG, that's what it's important. And ultimately, it will be easier for them to get a clean audit. We will get to a point where when you come to the pros conference, you will be knowing that we are just announcing clean audits. We will get to that point. I know, and I'm not sure if you will come, because I know now you come because you want to hear who didn't get a clean audit. But at that time, you might probably say, we're not going. Those people are going to be telling us about clean. So we'll get to that point. We are very, very confident because we've got a very competent, qualified, experienced, knowledgeable, skilled team in Treasury that works with the departments on a daily basis to ensure that we improve. So we will get there. Katlego, the process of digitization, it has started. We have appointed one of our entities, which is what you know as Gauteng, because that system, by the way, it's there, they have it. So we said we will use the system and roll it out to the other 5 departments, which is Premier's Office, Treasury, Department of Transport, and I think Cornhill, I don't know, about, and G-Fleet. Oh yeah, in G-Fleet. So that hopefully by January we would have started in these 5, so that when the financial year ends, we are able to monitor how is it going, and then we can be able to apply. In the next budget speech that we'll give in March next year, we will be able to give feedback. Yeah.
Thank you very much, MEC. Colleagues, any last question before we close? Yeah, there's no last question. MEC, thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you very much for coming through and joining us today. If there are those that require one-on-ones, you can just have a discussion with us as soon as we close the press conference. Refreshments are served on the other side. MEC, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues.